Hey people, we're the Reclamation sisters.
And today we're going to talk about generosity of spirit and controlling our responses. So this topic came about because I saw a video on Laura Clery's page that I thought was a little wild.
Yeah.
And I sent it to you and thought, this is kind of ridiculous. This isn't just me, right? So we'll link to that video down below. But basically, Laura had shared on her page that she was experiencing postpartum depression.
Right.
And this other woman basically lost her shit about it and was responding basically in a way that said Laura had no right to be suffering because of all the things that Laura has. According to this other woman, Laura had no right to experience any kind of suffering at all, which is
not only
ridiculous.
suffering, but I mean, just how dare she express anything that she's going through at all as a mother, and how dare she ask for feedback from her community platform, which she runs, which is the idea of a platform, is to share our experience, strength, and hope, and to receive feedback.
I got sneeze, sorry.
What's going on? And Laura is a person in long-term recovery. She's done a lot of work. She and her husband have been blessed with 2 beautiful children, but currently she is experiencing her own struggle, and she shares that openly, honestly, and willingly with her followers. And this woman was not about to hear it. How dare you, speak your mind? Well, first of all, the most important thing that we can do when we share is to share honestly, openly, willingly, and to know that no matter what, it's not to help change the world. It's one person. That happened with me and somebody else the other day. They were like, I didn't know. And then all of a sudden they opened up just years worth of stuff because they didn't know it was a safe space to have that conversation. Gather information and, kind of put it in your arsenal and use it at a later time. I might not think I need to know that right now, but down the road I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, I remember hearing somebody say that they used that, and it might be really helpful.
When I first saw it, that woman's response just screamed jealousy to me, right? But it's so much more than jealousy.
Way more.
You could be jealous of somebody and not respond that way. Like, she's screaming, basically, and sobbing and demanding to know how dare Laura Clery suffer or struggle when she has, like we said, 2 grandmothers for her children and, a house and all these things.
You can have a cup of coffee.
Right. All these things that this woman obviously can't do. Does that mean that Laura was just, freely given all of this stuff in her life? No. Like, she struggled, like you said, through her recovery process, but then
she's done the work.
She's done the work for that, but she's also a working woman. She is a comedian, and she works hard at her channels and all of the things that she produces.
She runs a business.
She absolutely runs a business. She makes me laugh. I just discovered her as a comedian long before I knew she had a backstory of addiction and all the things that she's overcome there. So she's hilarious, but also she has overcome a lot. So that's awesome. So this woman was like, how dare you, basically, like we said, have more than I do and still have a complaint in the world. So the first thing it made me think of was that guy I dated 25 years ago in North Carolina. I was upset about something. I don't even remember what. The only thing that I remember was he gave me this huge story in response to me, and I was like crying. I was upset about something, basically saying, there are starving kids in the world. Don't you understand that they have it worse? And I was like, what? Like,
Is that the guy with the blue SUV?
Yeah. I was like, I'm a 25-year-old woman. What does this have to do with starving children in another country? Like, this is about what I'm experiencing right now. But he really was like, "What? How do you really think that what you're upset about, is justifiable because there are people that have it worse? Like, how does that relate at all? Like, that has nothing to do with my feelings right now." And I felt like this woman was the same thing. Like, how dare you struggle when somebody else has it worse?
Or how dare that you have a mental health condition related to postpartum
that you can't control,
and related to the fact that she demanded somebody, volunteer at a domestic violence shelter. And one has nothing to do with the other. Be generous in how I interpret what people say, how they say it, and where they come from with what they've learned. I have to look at how that woman responded. Obviously, she's struggling as well.
Right.
Obviously, there's a greater issue. How we respond makes or breaks us as a human being. And obviously in that moment she broke and she needs help. And I'm hopeful that the people in her life saw it and got her the help she needs. But if you don't align with what somebody has to say, be generous in how you interpret it. Like when we had that conversation about handing out needles, you were like, but at some point we have to be generous in how we look at things and understand that not everything is about how I interpret them or what I believe to be okay. Sometimes there's greater public health issues or greater mental health issues or morals, ethics, and values at play for each person.
I feel like that person, the woman who had that breakdown in response to Laura's struggle, she would almost enjoy if Laura relapsed.
Yes.
Yeah, or relapsed or failed in any way. She would be like, see, you don't get to have more than I do. You know what? Like, it was just a terrible... I don't know. It just was so hateful and spiteful the way that she was responding. It was obviously about something that she was going through, and she turned it around and made it about something that Laura, was
But in the
through.
process of recovery, the greatest thing that we learn is that it's never about us. Yeah. How I respond is about me, but what somebody shares is their own path, their own process, and their own story. And every story weaves together a stronger community of recovered people that help the next newcomer. I just am sometimes in awe of how angry and mean and spiteful and hateful and just negative people are. Sometimes, when I, on my personal recovery page, post just something that I find motivating or moving, and people are like, yeah, but sometimes we have to remember that there's a period at the end of what people say and just let it be done. As soon as we shame someone.
Yeah, that's exactly what she was doing, wasn't she?
She shamed her.
Yes.
Like, how dare... Oh my.
Yes, that's what
tisk,
it was.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Yeah.
And that's where people don't understand. Shame is the most destructive thing, and the only thing that destroys that is empathy. And I really have empathy for her because I remember being so angry and so you know what? You just keep talking because what you got to say, there is a point when you are really coming out of being sick that you got no time for what anyone's saying because you're just so engulfed in your own illness. But at some point you've got to just, they say, take the cotton out of your ears and stick it in your mouth. Just shut up. Just, ma'am, sit down and be quiet and hear what somebody else has to say. And then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
If I could just stop talking and start listening, if I was generous in the way that I interpret what people are saying, oh my God, I might be able to build a toolbox of, coping skills and stop shaming people and start having empathy and be able to connect with them. I think that's just really sad that, any mother would shame another mother knowing what an overwhelming responsibility that is. And then to, ice the cake with a little mental health struggle, oop, oop.
Yeah.
A little whipped cream. I mean, come on. How about we just be a little kinder to each other?
How about we just all calm down and just be nice to each
other?
Calm down,
Karen. Jesus.
But I like that one. I feel like, how could she not see that what she was doing was really in a blatant attempt to make Laura feel bad for what she has in life?
But here's the thing is, do we know she was trying to make her feel bad? Or was she just, just, you have to know that sometimes
she did it in video publicly.
Yeah, but people make videos, we make videos about, you just have to look at it in that moment. Was she just so overwhelmed?
Yeah.
And that, that was her cry.
And
that was a cry for help. There's so many things and so many factors. So the generous interpretation of that video for me is, she is a person who was not pleased with what someone said, and her response was so negative because she's feeling so overwhelmed in her own life that I hope her response was seen by the people who love and care for her, and she gets the help she needs so that she's not filled with such distress and anger.
The ungenerous response, which I had at first, was, is she seriously mad at another mother, for having grandparents for her children? Is she supposed to feel guilty because the grandparents are in her children's lives? What kind of world is this? That, you know what I mean? And then you, of course, as always, help me be obviously that woman is struggling with something too.
It's not about the grandparents.
Right. I just feel like it's this contest and like who has, sometimes it social, when we see everything online, it's like who has the shittier life at the moment, and like why is that, you know, something that why do you want to make it not okay that she's okay?
Because then the next person's going to make a video and be like, listen, you want to talk about a bad life and not having that, and then it's going to be a competition.
Like
look at me, and then it's just
compete,
like it's not a competition of who's struggling more, because everybody struggles greatly and somewhat, you know,
no matter what you have,
terribly in their own moment. And, you know, you can't say that the world doesn't bring upon you great distress in your own moment. And for you to be like, well, you know what, ma'am, not really that bad of a thing, you know, not for you to judge. And not for you to shame me about, Linda.
Right. To shame somebody for what they have or don't have, or shame somebody for how they're responding to their life, you know, which is what was happening. She was shaming her for, you know, not being, you know, buck up, basically, when it was a medical condition. So we're going to link the videos so that you can see them. And as always, shoot us your thoughts and your comments, and, you know, further discussion can be had. But peace out.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, is everybody fucking sitting down?
Everybody's in their spot.
Have a seat, sir. Sir. Have a seat.
Okay.
Ready?
All right, yep, ready.
Hey, people. It's my sister, Laura.
What are you doing?
All right. Hey, people. This is my sister, Laura.
No, we're not doing that, remember?
I thought we do it in every video.
No, the last one we switched to, hey, we're the Reclamation sisters, and then I just said what we're talking about.
Hey, people.
I was scratching my nose.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Can you get your shit together?
Okay. It's itchy. Okay.
Hey, people. We're the Reclamation sisters. That's just stupid. Linda.
I think you shot out.
I just right now. Yeah.
When you turned over.